welcome to Nirmal, ladies and gentlemen. I am Datia. We have Riya Singh, technical analyst, Currencies joining in. Riya, a very good morning. Currently, if you go to see, the first thing that we need to talk about is with what's happening to the dollar index because there are concerns with regards to where the US-China trade war go. But currently, if you see in terms of the dollar index as well, somewhere it's trading below that 99 mark. Now, the dollar index is suffering losses as well because you have Asian stocks, as well as if you talk about US index futures, there are some bit of gains that are coming in on that front. So there is a recovery on that front, and that's what is impacting the dollar index. Now, what is the sense that you're picking up on that front? Because a lot of factors that will be, looked out for as well. You have the US weekly jobless claims figure that everyone is eyeing. Apart from that, the lingering US-China tensions is something which could be having an impact as well. How high are the odds for the dollar index then to move to levels of almost around 98?
Yes, good morning, Hiral. If you look at the dollar index, it was, going on for a dip, and it has tested 98.70 levels in the yesterday's session. A marginal recovery from those levels was seen because, as I said, there is increased tensions between the Sino-US trade war, as the friction between the two countries has, increased after the Trump statement that he's coming forth with measures with respect to the Hong Kong legislation issues. This has resulted into the a bit of risk into the into the overall U.S. Trade war, and it's likely to head to a new Cold War, as the China has stated into its statement. Uh, but if you look at the overall scenarios, like you said, the unemployment data, it has the claims that has been attained under this unemployment policy that they have is at the peak. There are the jobs losses are its highest. So the situation there is not quite very promising. But if you look at the FOMC meet statements and the Fed measures, uh, they have been trying to flush in the required liquidity, and there have been some lockdown measures that have been relaxed. So taking into view, if there is any more uh, if this US trade war worsens more, there can be again increased into the risk sentiment, and you dollar will gain its strength. But if it's not as much as expected, I think there will be some dip into the dollar index coming forth, because after even the marginal rise that we saw
Mm.
around 90 99.06, 99.30, it has again recovered to 98.90. But if you look at the Chinese domestic currency yuan, it has taken a hit against these increased risk sentiment. So not only this, but if you look at the there has been a change into the behavior into the other safe assets, such as there has been a rise into the crude oil prices, as well as the into the rise into the precious metals. So I think coming forth, uh, it will head towards 98, and as we have discussed the range for the dollar index, it will be quite consolidated between the 9800 levels into the coming session, because there has been some or the other that is constructing the gains into the dollar index.
Right. So that's an interesting take with regards to where the dollar index goes, yeah. But in turn, if you see what's happening to the Euro USD pair as well, for the first time in nearly 8 weeks, you've seen the Euro USD break through that 1.1 mark. Now, overall, in the last 24 hours, we've heard a number of monetary policy officials who've come out and seem to suggest that more easing is on its way. Now, this also includes ECB President Lagarde, who said that that it's very likely that ECB's mild scenario is out of date. Taking all of this commentary into consideration, taking with what's happening to the Euro USD pair as well, what's your sense that you pick up in terms of the appreciation? How much more appreciation are you expecting on the Euro?
Yes, so if you look at the euro partner, euro was quite depressed in the in the last few sessions, but the gain has come forth as there was a fiscal infusion that was done. Now this unveiling of fiscal package was around 750 billion. Now if you look at the amount, it is one of the largest so far in the history of the Europe fiscal package. If it's approved, it has not been approved yet, but if it comes forth, it will be the largest package that has been infused into the economy. So this has come additional to the 540 billion euro that has already been infused into the economy with respect to help into the pandemic measures. Now, if we look at the numbers of the Europe, we can see that Europe is facing its one of the steepest recession so far. So it is very necessary for the economy to come back to the track, because the worst hit economy, if you look at the particular country, it has been Italy and Spain. So these two countries were facing various pressures when it has come to, because their economy has shut down completely. So this the global risk sentiment that was pertaining into the Europe economy has relaxed a bit upon this fiscal package. So there, so the rise into the euro is a result of this positivity that has come forth by the EU fiscal package. It will boost the economy of the Italy, France, Germany, Greece as well. Because if you see in the past, Greece has also defaulted on its bonds, and yeah, so there is a risk that it will do again. So but they have EU have come forth with various loan as well as tender packages, which will help these countries to not follow the same path and actually recover from this pandemic situation. So this has actually helped into the risk sentiment of the investors, which we are seeing into the euro pair. So I think coming forth, it will gain for a few sessions. Now let's see if the package is approved by the state. I think if it does so, it will help into the euro appreciation, because if you look at the greenback, it is depreciating because there has been some relaxation in the lockdown measures. So anyway, there has been some greenback has been losing its momentum, so that will be affected into the euro. But if the package is approved, it will aid into the further appreciation in the euro.
Right. So, with all of this taking into consideration, what would your recommendation be for traders? What are the kind of trades that you would recommend for today?
So, taking into the consideration of everything, if you look at the rupee has also gained a momentum. It has been in the consolidation phase for quite a bit now. If you look at the obviously the global risk sentiment has subsidized a bit. There has been FII inflows, and the major they have the FII inflows have accounted to around 1353 crores yesterday's so far. So if you look at the overall sentiment, I think there will be much FII inflows, because we are seeing some upliftment into the domestic market as well. Then there is Airtel block deal that is doing the rounds into the market. If approved, it will aid into the further FII inflow. So if you look at the rupee, one can expect some appreciation that can happen. Uh, but let's look at the our technical chart for so if you can just if you
Yeah.
see the yeah, so if you look, we were seeing we were expecting depreciation towards 75 60 7650 around, but the momentum has consolidated quite a bit. So it is resisting 76 on the higher side, but it is not breaking the support of 75 60 as well. So I think any breach of either of the levels will lead the momentum into the pair. If it reaches 76, it can go further. So one must take into consideration for the rupee because it is highly volatile if you see into the hourly chart as well. So take into consideration two levels, that is 76. Any breakout above 76 will be a long for rupee, and if a rupee opens on a weaker note and there is a breach of 75.60 on the lower levels, it will go for a dip further towards 75. 30 75 levels. So these two levels is what one must take into consideration. Now if you look, obviously there is some positivity that is coming into the euro, so one can go long for the euro if opens around 83.50, 83.46. So go along in the euro from the dip or from the low of the day. uh, so 83.45, 83.50 would be a good level for the euro to go long on, and it can go around 83.75 in into the coming sessions with a stop loss of 83.25. Then if you look at the pound has been a consolidated phase in the past session, so avoid pound for now. And obviously JPY is the another strategy that one can go for. You can go short into the pair below 70.43 because this is our hourly chart. If you see, it has been quite constrained. So any breakdown of 70.30 will definitely lead the pair towards the depreciation phase. So any 70.50, 70.40 will be a good level. 70.30 breakdown will be a good level for the pair to go short. So short JPY INR below 70.30 for the target of 70.90.70 with a stop loss of 70.50.
Right, those are interesting strategies. And we have one last question I want to take with you is that earlier as well, in the initial days of lockdown, when we were talking about the rupee, there was an
Hmm.
anticipation that probably we could hit levels of around 80 on the rupee as well. What's the
Hmm.
sense that you pick up on that front?
See, I don't think so. Rupee will actually hit 80 because as we have seen the momentum when it came around 70, it is not even
Mhm.
breaking 76 right now.
Correct.
So, yeah. So, the maximum depreciation that we can expect is till 77.50, 78 because RBI won't let rupee to depreciate so much. 80 will be a very, risky level to go for. But if you look at the current development, there has been a lockdown easing that is happening. There has been FII inflows that is happening. Domestic
Mm,
market has been picking up.
mm,
Even in the domestic, if you look at the domestic areas, there has been some easing in the domestic areas as well as when it comes to the lockdown, measures. Apart from the metro cities, there has been some opening into the industries and the manufacturing unit as well. uh, and apart from this, if you look, there has been some demand pickup that is happening in the China front as well in the auto sectors, surprisingly. So
mm.
I think taking to all these measures, I don't see rupee depreciating further than 78. So 78 levels will be the is something that we are aiming for as far as the depreciation of the rupee goes. Otherwise, if you look at the the normal a week trading session or so, I think it will remain consolidated between 76.50 to 74.50 levels. I think that is the range that the rupee will pick up into the coming months as well.
Right. All right, Riya. Thank you for sharing the strategies as well as your view with what's happening in the currencies market as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you.